Campagnolo Mechanical 12-speed record. This is my long-term review of that group set. But before we jump into the review, just a few disclaimers. Now, the first thing is I'm not running the Campagnolo crank. I'm running a Look BB65, which has some Praxis chain rings on the front, which are 11-speed. And also, I'm using the old Revolution brakes, the skeleton brakes, not the new brakes, on my bike, which is rim brake. So now you know that information. Let's roll that intro and let's get into the review. Okay, well, just some background information to what's been happening over the time that I've been using this group set, which has been around about 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers. Now, when I first got the Campagnolo RECORD 12-speed, it was a bit kind of crunchy. Now, that might have been because I'm using 11-speed chain rings on the front and it was bedding in, but it was producing a lot of noise from the transmission and was a bit crunchy to change, like almost like as if it kind of wasn't quite a nice fit on the bike. But as time went on, that crunchiness disappeared and it became smoother and smoother and smoother until like now where it's beautifully smooth. And during this time, I've only had one service, and I've also was involved in an accident where I hit a van and the bike was dropped and the hanger was actually bent and my local bike shop had to straighten that and fit it. So it's got some scratches on the brake lever, it's got some scratches on the derailleur, but it still works flawlessly to this date, even after it's had that impact. Now, Campagnolo are offering quite a few different combinations with this latest 12-speed group set. And one thing that Campagnolo were never really into was easier gears, but now they're offering that with the 1134 cassette, which I have actually running on my group set. And you can also get a 4832 front chain rings if you've got a system that's not proprietary like mine, because I have to use the Look crankset and bottom bracket. I can't change that unless I buy an adapter to put a standard crankset in there. So that is what's different on my bike. Now, with these extra gear options, it makes it a lot more applicable to a lot of riders. You know, people that are probably getting a bit on in years, or people that are starting cycling and maybe it's the second bike and they're not that fit, or they just don't ride that often because they just have like a once every weekend ride or every second weekend ride, and they want something and they want to be able to get up those hills. Well, Campagnolo is now offering these in their group sets. So how does this new Campagnolo system change? Well, let's just have a look at the back derailleur first. And the back derailleur is 11 to 34, and they haven't changed the free hub interface. So all of your old Campagnolo wheels are going to work with the new 12-speed group sets. Now, to achieve this, what they've done is they've dished the biggest gears on that cassette, so it's aligning with the spokes. As the spokes angle in like this, the cassette is being mounted, so it mounts in like this. So you can actually have a bigger cassette on a smaller free hub, and this makes it fit really nicely. So the changes are different on a Campagnolo compared to the other brands that are on the market. They have a 2-button system, and they have one button that's on the inside of the brake lever, and then they have a lever like they do on the SRAM system. And it's the opposite that you would expect from if you're coming from Shimano. The inside button makes it go to a harder gear, and the lever that's behind the brake lever makes it go to an easier gear. Now, when you're changing to an easier gear, the sharpness of the change is really, really sharp. It's really goes boom and hits into the next gear. And especially when you're under load and you're in the smaller cogs, if you're in a tunnel, it just echoes through the tunnel. It's very, very sharp change. And as you push it, it's like, doom, it goes straight in. When you're going to the easier gears and you're using the lever that's behind the brake lever, it's more of a feel. You can actually feel you're pulling the cable, and you can feel that the chain is moving up the cassette, and you just need to hold it or overchange slightly before you release it to get that perfect change every time. That's the only place I've found where you can really miss a gear on the cassette, is going to an easier gear. If you just try to tap it quickly or try and make a really kind of slack change, it may drop back down to that cog. But if you push it, you feel it's gone into gear, just hold it for an instant before you release it, you get a perfect change every time. And you very, very rarely miss a gear. Now let's talk about the front derailleur. Now the front derailleur has been significantly improved over the 11-speed Revolution that was before this group set. And it works extremely well. And they've gone from that 3-step system, which only had one selection in the big ring, and as soon as you pushed it, it changed the chain over to the little ring, to a 4-step system. So you have like a trim in the big ring now. And it's made it a lot more reliable and a lot more smoother to change. And it's pretty much flawless. I've only ever dropped the chain once, and that's when I very, very first got the group set on my bike, and only been just riding it maybe 1 or 2 days, and I pushed a lever right across, so it went from one extreme trim to the other, and it dropped the chain. And I learned very quickly that you just need to step it through, and you'll never ever drop a chain, and it never misses a change. And that's how I use it now, and it's extremely reliable. Out of my 3,000-4,000 Ks, that's the only time I've dropped a chain, and it's never got caught or stuck in the derailleur, changes perfectly. So the improvement Campagnolo have made on the front derailleur is significant. As soon as you get on this 12-speed to start riding it, you go, hey, this is, you notice it straight away. The change is a lot more precise, and even with the rear cassette, you can feel that they've just, it's just a little bit more sharper than it was, a little bit more. It's almost like as if it's got a stronger spring in it, so it changes to a harder gear just that instant bit quicker. Now, with the brake levers, what Campagnolo have done, they've offering a 2-step position for that brake lever. So you can have it set at its standard position, and then you can actually push the lever and adjust it so it's in further and it's closer to you. So if you've got smaller hands, you can actually set that so the reach to the brake lever is less. And this is something that is new on the 12-speed. Now, the little button that you use to change that position, if you push it all the way across, it releases the brake handle and opens your calipers, so then you can get your wheels out. And if you don't know that that's how you open your calipers, then go check out my video up here and I explain that in detail. So we're getting this extra option on the brake levers of the new Campagnolo 12-speed. Well, Campagnolo have really made some significant changes over the previous 11-speed in this new 12-speed group set. And yes, we do realise that we're getting an extra cog, so it's one more, it's from 11-speed to 12-speed. But apart from that, the whole group set has just been improved in its operation. First of all, you're getting the extra adjustment on your hand so you can get a better position. The front derailleur significantly improved the way it changes, and the shifting on the front when you're going from dropping from the big ring to small ring, it just seems like it goes so smoothly down onto the small ring, and then when you push it up, it just seems effortless to get that chain back on the big ring. And even the rear cassette, even though that the difference is a lot smaller, it just seems to be a little bit sharper and gives you a bit more feedback when you're going up the cassette, and has a lot more speed and sharpness going down the cassette. So the whole group set as a whole has been improved, even if you forget about the whole fact that it's one more gear in the back end. And the finishes, I would say, not quite as good looking as the older system. I really like the design of the 11-speed derailleur, but you know, beauty's only skin deep, and the operation of this 12-speed is significantly superior to the old 11-speed. And the Groupset just does everything it's supposed to do when it's asked to do it, and you very, very rarely miss a shift. It's really well refined, and Campagnolo have done a really good job with this 12-speed, and I'd recommend it to anyone actually, because it's not about having an extra cog. It's just, even if it was 11-speed, this new Groupset, it just works a hell of a lot better than the old 11-speed Revolution Campagnolo. Well, anyway, guys, if you've got any questions about the Groupset, let me know down below. And I would probably have to say that this Campagnolo Mechanical Groupsets on the higher-end Groupsets is probably the best Groupset at the moment on the market. Okay, guys, I'll see you next vid. Cheers.